But who pit stopped anyway? Yep, so minor complications, but we're back underway and we should hopefully be going again with the safety car. And it looks as if J. Cole pitted under the safety car and Jochen also pit. So everyone has now made a pit stop apart from the race leader Steen. That's basically what we gathered. Right, yeah, sorry for the complications, lads. That was just an issue. It's all good, but we're back going and we haven't really missed anything because there is a safety car. J. Cole pitted on the safety car. One pitted as well. He's onto another set of the medium tyres actually. Jesse, I think, well, I mean, they've all pitted, so that does mean J. Cole, Jesse, one, and Jochen pitted under the safety car. Joker, Humberston, Matt, Flaricello, and Andre pitted after the first lap collision. Steen, the only driver yet to make a pit stop, but he is going to have to at some stage. But here we go, as you can see, very aggressive win. In fact, Steen almost overtaking the safety car there. But obviously you're not allowed to do so, but very aggressive weaving to keep temperature. We're 5 laps in, we've seen a virtual safety car in the opening lap due to a shower of debris. And a full safety car. So this is that new patch on the game, working in full swing. Now how will this not pitting affect Steen? Obviously, as it stands, the main thing at the heart of this race is that title battle. And as the safety car is confirmed to be going in this lap, Steen will lead the pack away. So yeah, Steen will lead them away then. J. Cole in second place, currently losing out on the championship. It will be Jochen that wins the title because J. Cole needs to win this race to stand a chance of winning the championship. There we go. So the limiter will be hit for the Red Bull that leads them. The drivers behind haven't got a alert ball, and one there in the Toro Rosso ended up flying off. I think there was a bit of contact. There's a bit of knocking around there. I think there might have been. And he has got a 5-second penalty for a collision with Super Jesse, so there was a bit of knocking around there. So one who has pitted onto another set of the medium tyres. Oh, that's going to be that. Here we go, so onto the main straight they go, and I think Steen, has he gone? He has gone, and away we go. Steen leads on the restarts yet again, and J. Cole still signed second. I think that's Matt dropping all the way down to 10th as he comes into the pits, and I think so there's Andre on the back of Flaricello, and he's getting very close in the background there. So here we go, and there's actually a bunch of cars now, all very close to each other. Jochen trying to make an assault onto the top 5 here. One getting close onto the top 3. J. Cole wanting to retake the race lead on the safety car restart. Here we go, J. Cole down onto the straight, no DRS because we've just come off a safety car, but is he going to get close enough to go for the move? Is he going to go for it? As we ride on board, heading down into the chicane, he pulls to the outside. Is he going to hold it around the outside under braking? I think he's trying to. There's a bit of a lock up there from someone in the background, and has he gone through? He has! And so J. Cole retaking the lead there. J. Cole is fighting for this one, he knows what's at stake and he's going for it now. J. Cole leads Steen in second place, in third place Super Jesse. But Steen's fighting back to pull to the inside, and I think that's almost caught Super Jesse off wide, because as Steen came back across the track to bail out of the overtake, and in fact there's a lock up for the Mercedes, he's gone wide, that's leaving him vulnerable here to the Toro Rosso driver who's looking very racy on this restart. Jochen still not quite under the top 5. He is still winning the championship in this position though. It's not enough. It's not enough at the moment for J. Cole to win the title. And I'm sure that's what's going to be on top of his mind. It's just the fact that he wants to win this championship. So here we go then, into the final corner. Is Super Jesse going to be able to get out of the Red Bull? The Red Bull, the only driver on the grid who hasn't made a pit stop. But J. Cole already pulling out a gap of over a second. So already he's over a 1 second, which is what he needs for when DRS gets enabled on the next lap. Jochen not being able to move up much progress here. And is Humberston going to be able to start knocking him down the order? But Super Jesse very close to the back of Steen. Steen not pitted. Super Jesse has one's going to need to make another stop, so that's going to be a 2-stop for him. And the drivers that had to pit on the opening lap, they might need to make their race into a 2-stop as well. It's been heavily compromised this one then, as Warden runs in 4th place into the chicane as we look at the back of him for whatever reason. And here comes Mercedes, and he's not quite... He has gone ahead there, he went down the inside, and he does get ahead of Steen. Steen drops the position into third, and I think Jochen was looking at a go on the Williams there, but suddenly the Williams is turning his race into attack as he tries to focus and attack on the Toro Rosso of 1 to try and get ahead, but he's not quite close enough to go for a move there. But the Red Bull on the Toro Rosso, and he's chasing down for a spot in the top 3. One pit from mediums to mediums. He started in 9th place. He managed to somehow get through all the chaos with unscathed, and he's now fighting for 3rd, and so that's a great race from him. As here we go, charging through, and there's a Taurus of 4th place. In 5th, here is Joker in the Williams, and is he going to go for a move there? It almost looked like he was shaping one up. He's getting very close indeed to the back of that Toro, so he's unable to really get any closer. As J. Cole setting another fastest lap. He's on he's currently scoring 26 points. If it finishes the way they are currently, his DRS gets re-enabled. Jochen, the championship leader, he will be scoring 8, and so that would mean that Jochen loses out 18 points, which would not be enough for the championship. That would put him at like 3 points ahead, 4 points ahead, 3 or 4 points ahead. Basically, Jochen would still be winning the championship if he finishes in this position. But with DRS, there's a bit of a weave going on, as I think someone tried to defend, and that's Steen defending the inside. And here comes one to go to the inside, but was there a move there just before, just onto the brakes? And I think someone locked up in the background as they all file their way through now, in single file pretty much, because they're all DRSing each other. And so now one's going to have another run at the Red Bull. The Red Bull goes defensive. One, does he find his way to the inside? No, he does not. And now I think Joker's going to look like he's very much onto the back of him there. And so the Red Bull's still holding up this train. Is this just worn soft tyres it's run on since the start of the race that's causing him to lose this pace? That's causing him to start this train. As we can see them filing through the final sector, you can't really overtake you, and this is showing how difficult overtaking around this track is, that we've managed to get this train, that Steen's able to hold this gap, which is really helping the drivers up front, because no one can get... I'm sure they're quick enough to try and close that gap to the top 2. They're just not able to, as J. Cole sets a 40 dead, because they're all being held up behind the Red Bull now. So here we go, under braking into the first corner. Here we go. Is it going to be the lap they get ahead onto lap 9 of 28? We've still got a relatively long time to go in this race, as one comes through into P4. Now he is under braking through the chicane, and it's not quite enough on this occasion. He's not quite made it now. And here's one, he's getting close, he got the DRS. Steen goes defensive yet again, which causes the whole train to shuffle to that defensive line, and one's going to try and hold this one around the outside. He's going to hang it around the outside, which does switch to the inside on the next part of the chicane, and I think he's got it slightly wrong, and he's pushed the Red Bull off, and Joker's got through. Jochen's gone ahead, and the Red Bull's lost out massively. He's down to 7th. A botched overtake has cost him a lot of time there, and now Joker's under threat from Jochen for 3rd. Jochen's fighting for a podium all of a sudden, and he gets to the inside. Jochen's done it into the top 3 there now. Absolute problems as Steen gets done for corner cutting and collision. Steen is out, and I think there was an incident with the Toro Rosso there. Just caught that at the back. Virtual safety car deployed as Steen is out. Was that just anger that came over him there? That was a rather unusual incident. But that's just, it's very unusual what just happened there. Jochen has gotten up into 3rd amidst all the chaos that's unfolded here in Yas Marina. He's managed to get up, and I think his joke almost looked like he was going for a move there, and he's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. The virtual safety car is go and go and go, and Humbleton has not given up. And I think Joke has been caught napping on the restart there, because Humbleton's just gone straight around him. And that seemed a bit too easy for Humberston, so I think Joker's just got caught napping on the restart, dealing with just the fact that he's been given a drive-through penalty. So we will expect to see Joker heading his way into the pits. Warden's going to be very annoyed with what just happened there. He tried to get past, he couldn't do, and it looked like Steen took it out on him because he ended up sliding around. But there we go then. And now the DRS train continues as they try to close up on Jochen. I think the Racing Point has got there. They're not as close as they were when they were all behind the Red Bull, but they aren't too far off. Here we go, there's the Williams going around there. It was a lovely aerial shot. Sees them file through the chicane as the sun begins to set now. And here comes the Williams. He's trying to chase down. And in fact, here's the Racing Point. This is Humberston trying to get into the top 3. As it stands, it's not enough points for the championship. It'll only put it down to a 10-point gap in Jochen's favour. So the championship still goes to Jochen. He's delivered a strong race from 8th on the grid. He's now up into 3rd. And he's been in the wars. He's not really had it easy. But he hasn't taken his foot off the gas and he's gone for it. And he now on lap 10 sits in the top 3. Chasing down Super Jesse, a 5-second gap for that. Second place is there he comes now, with Humberston holding his tail. Joker isn't too far off, but he's got threat of his own from the Toro Rosso, and Joker pits in. He's dived in off those medium tyres, and he does come into the pits. I don't think he was one of those that was involved in that first lap accident, so he's already made a stop. I think he made a stop under the safety car and he's immediately coming. Oh wait, no, he's one drive-through. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense. Drive-through penalty for Joker. I completely forgot he had that. Anyway, yeah, so one now into 5th place, but he has got Andre just behind him now, who's been desperately trying to have some good luck in this race because he was involved in that first lap collision, as was his teammate Super Jesse, but Super Jesse managed to get himself back up to the front now, whereas Andre has made less progress, shall we say, to that of his teammate. It's one in P5, and there he goes, just flying through the chicane now. It looks to be settling down for a bit, though this race never really seems to ever settle down. Here comes Humberston in P4. He's chasing down at the Alfa Romeo of Jochen. Hard on the brakes, into the chicane, gets the chicane right, and there he goes then, as he gets ever closer to a spot on the top 3. J. Cole running a race of his own, currently sits 2.6 seconds. In fact, that gap between Jochen and Super Jesse has gone down, which is crucial news that Jesse is being caught up. Well, such a small margin, it's nothing major, but he is being caught up now by Jochen, who's been driving pretty well, you must admit, to get from 8th to 3rd. We just have at the position change. We can see our winners in the position change are, with the most gained is Jochen, unsurprisingly, and Silent Bob and Joker have lost the most with 5. Only J. Cole, Jesse and Humberston are currently in the positions they started in. So just in a little bit of facts for you there then. But Humberston still trying to chase down J. Cole. We see him find his way through the hairpin, trying to go on the power early as you can. She's got a long straight, and it's all about building speed down this straight then. As here we go. Is he going to get close enough? That's the question. It doesn't really close in all too much. I think he might be out of the DRS range. He's definitely out of the DRS range, because that line there you can see is the detection point, and so Jochen has managed to find his way out of the detection zone and he's no longer at DRS threat, which is probably the biggest threat in this race. There is Super Jesse, there's the Alfa Romeo, and there is the Racing Point. One, as we see on the nose, he's not actually too far back. He's trying to catch up. Here is Andre, he's getting around his own business right now. So Jochen's managed to get up into P3 in this race. But is he still at pressure from Humberston? He's actually, at this point in the last time, Jochen was 4.9 seconds behind Super Jesse. He now sits at 5.2, so the gap has gone up between Jochen and Super Jesse. So that's Super Jesse retelling it there, and you can actually see J. Cole just in front of him, but he isn't really closing in, and that's what's crucial. That gap is not going down. And so here we go. This is Humberston still trying to get close, but he's like 1.5 seconds back now. So as gaps start to emerge up the field now, the race starts to head toward a stalemate. It was a rather chaotic opening to the race, but in the end it's all been said and done, and I think we've weathered the storm, and now it starts to get full Abu Dhabi, and just, to be perfectly honest, a bit of a stalemate, people struggling to really close down any gaps. But it will work for Jochen, because that will give him the championship by about 10 points. He'll be losing 11 points to J. Cole. I believe has the fastest lap was 1 in the background, pulling out of the slipstream. Not that I don't think he's getting much slipstream. No one with the DRS, they're all out of the second. They're all in the same shot as a lock up there from 1. Does that losing too much time? Not quite. It doesn't look like he's lost it much. He has lost time. Actually, no, he has. He's lost half a second there through that chicane. So a lock up really seemed to cost him, and he's suddenly losing sight of Humberston, who's got close to Jochen there. That caused slightly off guard with how close he got. But Humberston's looking close to continuing the assault for the top 3. Floricello picks up 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. But Humberston is looking strong, just a second back now. He's not quite close enough, but he has gone within a second, but there isn't a DRS straight here, so it's not like he can really overtake. It's not the chicane, I'd say, is the main real overtaking spot. But here we go then, in the racing point. Here he goes. Is he going to get close enough? Not into turn 1. He's still just under a second. If he can keep that gap, he will get DRS, which will allow him to close the gap. But I think he got it slightly wrong coming out of the first corner, which then nullifies that attempt at getting any closer to a top 3 spot. He's going to want to go for that podium as he goes hard on the brakes, but he's lost out, and that line there that you can see, that's the detection point. It's there where you need to be within a second of the car in front, to which Humberston isn't, nor is one, nor is Andre. So none of these drivers going to be picking up the DRS. Jochen 4.8 seconds, the gap's flirting around that 5-second mark. Meanwhile, Super Jesse losing out a lot of time. He now sits nearly 4 seconds behind Jacon. I'm sure Super Jesse's going to go for the win, but will it be possible for him? It's the question. Here's Humberston then in P4 as we ride on board with him underneath the Fanatec signs. And into the chicane, there's yellow flags, and that's Matt gone. He's in on a virtual safety car, so any gaps, anyone, they're going to fluctuate, but they're going to stay around about the same. The race is neutral. That's the 3rd virtual safety car we've had, so he's clearly crashed somewhere on the track. As Jochen's been given a drive-through. Oh no, it's going to be great news for Humberston, who I don't even know if he knows. But the guy he was chasing for a top 3 has just picked up a drive-through penalty. And so Jochen, is he going to serve it on this lap, try and make sure he doesn't lose too much time from it? I think he does, and he does indeed come into the pit. Humberston follows him in, interestingly enough, so I don't know did Humberston pick one up? I don't think he did. And Super Jesse's in. Super Jesse's in for a pit stop. One continues on again, as does J. Cole. So this virtual safety car is a cause for pit stops, and Humberston takes the opportunity to pit. The Alfa Romeo does as well, so it's not taking his drive through. So it still works in the Racing Point's favour, setting on a fresh set of tyres that's going to cause all sorts of chaos to the order then at the moment. 1 as the top 3, 4 haven't pitted, and Super Jesse, and now crucially as the virtual safety car's over, with fresher tyres than J. Cole, needs to get as close to J. Cole as possible. And if we just have a look, the gap between him and the race leader, 20.8 seconds, so it's about 20-second pit stop. Will he be close enough to perform the undercut and get ahead here for the race lead? He's got the DRS on the Ferrari. Vlaricelli pulls to the inside and down the inside. The Ferrari in the hard. The racing AD's on the inside, locking up there into the chicane. A bit of contact, and they managed to get through without touching each other majorly. But that is Super Jesse getting through a lock up there as he tried to get past him immediately. That's going to have lost him time as well. But Vlaricelli losing out. He's on the hard tyres. Next up is Super Jesse's teammate Andre up in 3rd place. Jochen down to 6th place now. He's under threat from Joker, who I don't think pitted under the virtual safety car. Plus Jochen's still got to serve his drive-through in the next couple of laps. Joker, another driver with a drive-through, who took a drive-through. Now Humberston's actually lost time to Jochen in all of that, so I wonder if he got caught up in the picture, an error maybe, but that could possibly allow Jochen a chance to get out ahead here. And I've just realised, I think it's actually impossible. If J. Cole wins, J. Cole now has to win and fastest lap, and Jochen finishes 8th. It's because there's only 8 runners left. See, I think J. Cole, who has the fastest lap, as Jochen doesn't go in again, so he's still got his drive-through. But will he choose to take it? There's Andre and there's Joker in as well. So that's interesting. He's chosen to pit in again. That does put Humberston up into 7th, 6th even, because Andre's coming out the pits just behind him there. And the race point gets back ahead of the Mercedes, and he resumes his battle with Jochen Vlaricello on the hards. I think he might have pitted on the hards at the start, so Vlaricello's gone 15 laps or so on those hard tyres. Now, I don't think he's going to go to the end, but that could be one interesting thing to note and to look for. As Super Jesse in the top 3, another lock up there into that same chicane. But One and J. Cole choosing not to pit and are now stretching out a huge margin. But Jesse has got him within 20 seconds, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that gap and to see if Jesse can do the undercut on him there. But Jochen, I'm pretty sure he picked up a drive-through. I'm not sure. He should not serve it because he came in and pitted. That doesn't count as a drive-through. And then he didn't take it then. And you have to take it 3 laps from when you receive it. So, if it doesn't take it, surely he could be disqualified. But we'll wait to see as he comes through the final sector and under the hotel. As we wait to see if he takes his drive-through, he has to go through the pit and drive through the pit lane at pit lane speeds. As Super Jesse takes that fastest lap. And Jochen, he comes in on this lap. So if it had continued on, he would have been disqualified, and that would have given J. Cole the championship. But Super Jesse taking fastest laps, he's pushing for it. And Humberston actually taking fastest lap, and that's how he's going to get ahead of Jochen, is it? Yes, it is. And Andre's gotten ahead as well. So now it's Jochen down to 7th place, but he needs to finish in 8th for J. Cole to win the championship. So far, Jochen still is the championship. It's probably been the most botched title win that you could probably come up with, but it looks like it's going to be what's happened. And Super Jesse, who's at lightning speed at the moment, did provisionally have the fastest lap before that was taken by Humberston, and another lock up into the chicane. But I don't think that's costing him too much. He's about 17 seconds away from J. Cole, so Super Jesse can win this race. And Vlaricello taking a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. But here we go, Super Jesse, another lock up, so he seems to be breaking legs. He's really clearly pushing it. It'll be interesting to see as one gets a penalty as well. So it'll be interesting to ride on board with him, to see as he's relentless assault to try and catch down one and maybe even go for the win. Should J. Cole make another stop? And I think he might need to make another stop, because they've been going on those meetings for a while. I can't imagine them lasting to the end. So this race suddenly got interesting. He's about 16 seconds, so he's very much within the pit window. And J. Cole, who's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, goes on again. And I think it's pretty evident now that Super Jesse can indeed undercut J. Cole. So if J. Cole's going to the end of these tyres, not J. Cole, sorry, Jesse goes to the end of the tyres, surely J. Cole's going to pit in, go on to a set of the softs and try and go as fast as possible to maybe go up. But Humberston is a man to look out for as he sets yet another fastest lap. The Ferrari getting penalties as he goes is the man being chased down by someone that's got the fastest lap, and it's never a good sign to know that the person behind you has got the fastest lap. So Humberston, he sits 7 seconds as Joker gets the fastest lap. So clearly some of the drivers are really pushing for it now and are giving it absolutely everything. But Super Jesse's on the back of one and he doesn't quite go for it there. It's very close, and another slight puff of smoke but is he going to be close enough here now as we ride on board? Second DRS straight, it activates there, and he's a lot closer in now. Is this going to be the move for Super Jesse to take second place? He goes to the inside. One doesn't really defend in the chicane. He locks up. He's gone deep. Jesse's gone deep. Oh, one loses the position in the end, but a corner cut from Jesse there. But he did, I think he got the entire car ahead of him before he went off, and now Super Jesse focuses entirely on closing that gap to J. Cole to either overtake him on track or to get as close as he can so that when he picks he comes out as far behind him as possible. But so far one hasn't made a second stop, he does need to. And will it be this lap that one chooses to dive into the pits? He does not. Humberston's really closing in. The last time I looked at his, he was 7 seconds behind the Ferrari, so Humberston really catching in, and that gap has gone sub 15 seconds between Super Jesse and J. Cole. That gap is going down. Jochen leading the championship, and Vladicello's in. So Vladicello into the pits. Humberston is continuing on. That's Andre who is into the first corner, now into fifth. Is Jochen going to be close enough to get at the Ferrari? I think he would be, and so that's going to put the Alfa Romeo, who is, I believe, currently winning the championship, up into 6th place. He's the championship leader, he's 21 points, and he continues to lead this championship for the last race of the season then. And Super Jesse 14.5 seconds behind the race leader. We'll have to keep a close eye on that gap to see how quickly he can close in then. Just have a look at the pit stops that people have made. It's only one and J. Cole that have made one stop. Everyone else has gone for a 2 stop, and I feel J. Cole's not going to get to the end on these tyres, no matter how hard he might try to. So he will have to pit, which will inevitably put him behind him, and even behind one, but one's going to make a pit stop as well, and Humberston's nowhere near, so I think the podium for Humberston at this stage might be off. So as you can see, 15 laps of J. Cole, and J. Cole's in. So J. Cole pitting in. J. Cole pitting in, and now here comes Super Jesse. Is he going to be close enough to take the lead? You bet he is, and I think he's easily going to do it as J. Cole into the pits, and one's following in as well, so they're both going in, and that does put Super Jesse into the lead as J. Cole comes underneath the track there, and into 2nd place he is now. But that's a set of the softs, it is indeed, and I'm sure one's going to do the same thing he does, and he's pitting onto softs. Humberston's gotten close enough to get into the top 3 there, and Andrews, seemingly doing pretty well as well, is closing in on Humberston, so the podium is still on for both Mercedes there. But now suddenly 5 seconds between the Renault of J. Cole and the Mercedes of Super Jesse at the front of the grid for 1st and 2nd. It's going to be a battle for the win. Andre getting close, 1.5 seconds in actually on Humberston as we ride on board, coming out of the hairpin at the top of the track. Ferrari World just behind you, but there we go, diving down the straight to see what he's got. And here he comes then into the chicane. There's Jochen in 5th place, and who's managed to get out of one, who is down to 7th place, but on a fresh set of softs you'd think he'd make light work of some of these drivers. DRS open on the Williams, on Toro Rosso, going up against the Williams. Chuck, who chooses to defend, but one desperate to get to the inside. He knows there's more of an inside than what Chuck is showing him, but a lock up, and he gets through, and that's P6 for one, and he's taken 6th place. And that's good news for him as Joker drops down to 7th now. Jochen up into 5th place. In 4th place is Andre, still trying to get a bit closer to Humberston. But that gap has immediately started to come down between J. Cole, who's consistently proven himself to be the fastest driver around here at the moment. Is he going to be able to take the victory? That is the question. I don't think the championship's quite going to be enough. Jochen in 5th. It will be the championship for him. Belgian, he will take the championship if it finishes like this. And as it stands, so all drivers now making a 2nd pit stop, so the 2 stop very much the strategy to go on. It seems it's Andre trying to close in, but he hasn't really managed to close up to Humberston, who is sitting in P3 at the moment. Through the chicanes and into the hairpin. But yeah, he's not quite close enough as Vladicello setting the fastest lap for the Ferrari. And he does, he comes through now, and on the set of the softs, the red tyres for the red car, and he's going for it now. Super Jesse's mediums, they've been going for a longer than J. Cole, and J. Cole's soft tyres are going to be quicker anyway. And there is J. Cole. What was the point gap between Jochen and J. Cole? It was 21. Jochen was 21 points ahead of J. Cole in the championship. So it's going to be, I think we knew going into this one it was going to be really difficult for J. Cole to win the championship, but he's going for it anyway. But he needs to win this race regardless of where Jochen finishes. He needs to win the race. And even if he wins the race with Jochen in 5th, it's still not going to be enough. Jochen needs to finish 8th, and J. Cole needs to win for J. Cole to take this championship, and that is looking increasingly unlikely. But J. Cole, as he sets the fastest lap, and that's more of an intimidation tactic to say to Jesse, look, I'm quick, I'm coming. And he is coming indeed, because in only a couple of laps that gap's gone down from 5 seconds to just over 1 second. He's going to be within DRS shortly. He's been chopping that gap down like a lumberjack in a forest. Here we go then, through the chicane as we ride on board into the hairpin. He navigates it really well. Jesse running slightly wider. His tyres starting to falter here. It looks like there's a possibility. Don't think he's got DRS, and he hasn't. But he's definitely within half a second here. And he's definitely going to get DRS in the next straight. Is he going to be close enough for a dive bomb? No, I think he thinks twice about that one. Knowing that what's at stake for him at this race. And he needs to finish. Because, you know, to finish first, you first have to finish, and a 3-second time penalty for J. Cole. We'll see if penalties determine the outcome of this race. As here we go then, J. Cole, does he shape up the move to the inside into the chicane? I think he does not. A lot of locking up there from Jesse, who goes straight across the second part of the chicane. But J. Cole sits yet another lap behind the Mercedes. You can tell he's really wanting to get ahead here though. And to get ahead, he is trying. But you can't really overtake in this car. I suppose every car has an overtaking opportunity if you're brave enough. But I don't know if it's a question of bravery, it's a question of realism as J. Cole goes slightly wider. I mean, J. Cole, the last thing he wants to do is crash out of the race trying to desperately get ahead to win, because even if he wins the race, he's still unlikely to win the championship, but he could still at least know that he pushed it to the end and to take the victory. But here we go, J. Cole in second. He is just over half a second. With DRS on both DRS straights, he might have a better opportunity of overtaking than just getting DRS on one. It's sad that we're kind of relying on DRS to overtake, but that's just the way it is these days. As in the chicane, you can see crossing the detection point half a second, very clearly within a second. So is it going to be enough for him on this lap? Is J. Cole going to be able to get ahead? So we ride on board with the Renault driver now, down the back straight into the chicane. He's in the slipstream, he's got the DRS, he pulls to the inside, and I don't think Jesse's got much to defend, but Jesse will have something to defend with, because if he can keep within the second, not bottle it, and get a good exit out of the chicane, he's got DRS on this time. So now it's Jesse's turn to strike back, and that's what's going to be the plan here for Jesse, is going to be striking back to retake the lead. Is he going for it? He pulls to the inside. J. Cole didn't look to defend that, but he don't in the end, and J. Cole continues to hold the race lead. So here we go then, Jesse now in behind in second place, and I think it was actually these two that came together on that opening lap on the front row of the grid that sent Jesse spinning around, that caused absolute chaos on that opening lap. So here we go then, Jesse in second. Is he gonna be close enough to try and take the lead? Is he gonna be able to take the lead? I don't think he will. I mean, his tyres are going to start to be going off, and I think that's clearly what's happened here, is that his tyres have just fallen off, and in the end Jesse's been unable to take the race lead, or at least hold on to it for a little bit longer, it seems. But here comes J. Cole, who continues to be leading the race but not the championship, and it does look, despite the fact that J. Cole, he's winning the race, he's got fastest lap, and he put it on pole, I think just the 5th place for Jochen will be enough for him to win the championship, and that's going to be annoying. That's going to sting J. Cole, knowing how much he's put into this race. But it's not over yet. Anything can happen as we enter the final 5 laps now. As one who is closing in onto the back of Jochen through this first corner. It's going to be closing in into around this first sector. And we'll see if we can get any closer. He is actually within the DRS. His yellow flag's in sector 3 as the car gone off. And that's Varichello getting very close to the barrier on the pit line there. But DRS will be in activation for one who was fighting for a podium at one stage. It's sort of been an up and down race for him. But now he will get DRS. The activation's a bit down the straight. It's not exactly after the hairpin. But here we go then. Down the straight. Is one going to go for it? He's been going for moves into this corner all day long. And he's continuing to go for it. And that does drop Jochen down into 6th place. But the Alfa Romeo is going to get the DRS. And he will be able to fight back. J. Cole's actually extended the gap over a second there. And here comes Jochen. And he has got DRS, but he's actually losing. So clearly one's got pace all of a sudden. I think that might be ERS. The management of the ERS has clearly worked for one as he's pulling away a bit of a gap now. So one's managed to be able to get into 5th, and he manages to hold it into 5th. But it is Jochen that sits in 6th place, who will be crowned world champion in about 4 laps time, it's likely. As Andre picks up another penalty. I'm kind of lost track on who has penalties and how many. So we'll just see what the race results say afterwards. And we'll just have to say what happens with the results as to whether one of them wins, if the positions change around. But at the moment it's looking good for J. Cole to win, but for Jochen to take the title. But here's Joker in the pits yet again. There's another pit stop for Joker. I think he's made like 3 or 4 now, surely. He's made quite a fair few pit stops as Varichello's going around into the final sector at the back. It's been a bit of a nightmare race for the Ferrari driver, to be honest. He crashed in qualifying and it hasn't really looked good from then on. What this race has shown, however, is that the patch works and the safety car is now a thing in the game, and it will come out for more realistic things, because we've seen 3 virtual safety cars and 1 full safety car in this race. So at least we know that's good, and that's going to make F1 League racing a lot more interesting in the future. So it's a good patch for Codemasters, so good job. So yeah, here we are then, into the final stages of the race. We've got, what, 3 laps to go now? And gaps are starting to emerge yet again, so it's like a bit of a stalemate toward the end of the race. J. Cole's managed to pull away and to a 2-second margin now. With Jochen, as we keep saying, he needs to finish 8th for J. Cole to win the championship. But even then, J. Cole has to get fastest lap. I don't know if he's got fast laps. Actually, you know he has. I'm sure J. Cole's got fastest lap. So at the moment, Jochen needs to be able to take him by both Joker and Varichello, or, you know, Jochen crashes and then J. Cole, the win in the fastest lap will be enough for him to take the championship. That's pretty much the way that's all worked out then. So yeah, but Super Jesse losing time now. 17 seconds to Humberston in the racing point. He's done a good job to get himself up into 3rd place. He's done some good racing. One as well, he started 9th. He managed to find himself into 3rd on the opening lap and was fighting for a podium for the majority of the race before an unusual incident with Steen. It almost looked like Steen purposely tried to take him out there, but ultimately failed in doing so. Andrea Ivan then, the Mercedes, who I haven't actually seen too much of. He's kind of been just doing his own job with that. And Varichello picking up another penalty then. Continuing to show how strict the penalties are. The penultimate lap for J. Cole, the penultimate lap of the season, and there's yellow flags in that. Is Varichello being disqualified? So clearly one too many penalties, and I think now Jochen has won the championship. There is physically no way Jochen cannot win the championship, unless of course he gets disqualified. He's now the only way that J. Cole can win the championship because of how many people are left. So Jochen is your season 18 F7 champion, unless of course disqualification happens. But I mean, rather annoying for Varichello, but that just kind of caps off the way the weekend's gone for him. crash qualifying in the final sector, and then a disqualification. He's been running around at the back as well for a lot of the race, so it hasn't really looked up for him. But Andre is getting closer and closer at the racing point. He's just out of a second. If he can get just within that second margin in the chicane, he will get the DRS down the next straight, which is not really straight, so it's the not so straight. So now it's like we're on the Grand Tour. Anyway, so here comes Andre. He's actually lost a bit of time now. He's just still out of that sector. He's not quite got it. So will it be a last lap attack from Andre on that racing point? He's been slowly gaining on him the whole time, or pretty much for the majority of this race. But is it going to be enough? And so you can see them very close in indeed. J. Cole starts the final lap then, but it's suddenly the fight for third that looks interesting between Andre and Humberston. Here we go. Is this going to be enough as Andre? And I think Humberston looked to got a bit of an error at the penultimate corner, leaving him vulnerable for the final corner now. Who's going to get the better exit? We're right on board with Andre. You can see him just there. Half a second. If he can keep this close, he will get DRS down the straight, which could allow him a last lap overtake here for P3 and a spot on the podium for Andre. Is this going to be enough now? Through the first sector, he is very close in fact, and the racing point has got a lot of pressure on him now. They've both driven pretty well. Andre, I haven't really seen much of him all race, but he's come alive in this final stage. And here we go then. The racing point's going to have to defend against the Mercedes on this main straight. And if he can get ahead, he's going to realistically, if it's not this chicane, it will be the next chicane. But is he going to go for it into this chicane here? He does not. Andre backs out. He's not gone for it. It's not to try and get the DRS, because knowing that that's the last really good overtaking spot, if he doesn't get it past here, then it's going to be unlikely he'll get ahead. But Humberston defending that inside. He pulls to the outside, comes Andre now, and is this going to be enough? Around the outside of the chicane, he's gone for it. Is it enough for third? Yes, it is. And Andre's done it. On the last lap, he's managed to take third. But it is J. Cole who runs the final corner for the final time. He started on pole. He's got the fastest lap. And he wins in Abu Dhabi. Super Jesse then coming on to second place. It almost looked like a win. He spun on the first corner. So a good drive from him. Andre was another driver that was involved in a mass collision at the start. But it looks like a last lap overtake has allowed him to get on the podium. And what a drive it was from him. And it's the racing point in fourth. Humberston delivered a pretty good drive as well. He was there or thereabout for most of the battles. Unfortunately, missed out on the top three. One was a drive. In fact, no, Andre's dropped to fourth. So penalties for Andre has given Humberston third. One's got a 5-second time penalty, but Jochen, in 8 seconds down, he wins the championship, and he might be out of fuel. But he wins the championship with 6th place. It was rather disastrous way to winning the championship. He picked up drive-through penalty. He got involved in a collision at the start. So it was, I kind of want to say shambolic, but I won't go that far, but he won the championship in the end, and he has taken the season 18 F7 title. By my calculations, but you know, there could be further things. Here we are then, and it's a podium, and it's another win for J. Cole. Humberston getting on the podium due to a penalty there from Andre. But there is the Renault driver lifting up the trophy, but he'll be back for another season, I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but he could be back for another season to try and go for the win, the Brit there. Sharing a podium with a Finn and an Englishman. There it is. Well, what a race, split across 2 streams because of technical difficulties in the safety car. Hopefully that shouldn't happen again. Oh my god. Okay then. That's a lot of penalties. Joko's the only driver not to get a penalty now. He's got to be proud of that achievement. Yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. Don't split across 2 streams. It shouldn't usually. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be doing AOR streams again. We'll have to see what the AOR overlords have to say, but I do believe by my calculations there's a championship from Jochen, a win from J. Cole. If you haven't already, please subscribe. This is pretty much what I do with the Super Formula League in ISRL, and I will be posting those Group 3 videos as the season goes on in Group 3. And that's pretty much all I have planned. Oh yeah, ISRL Archives. There'll be an ISRL Archives video up either tomorrow or Tuesday. Goodbye.